This is the Puck Junk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. I'm Sal Berry, and today we are going to talk about 2025-26 MVP hockey cards. We're also going to talk about a couple of NHL legends who passed away. Maybe we'll also talk about what we got for Christmas and a couple of other things in this first podcast of the new year. With me today is Tim Parrish. So, Tim, it's been a couple of weeks. How you been doing? How you been holding up since our last episode?
Just running on caffeine and willpower, like always.
Well, the caffeine definitely helps. Willpower, though, that's a new one. I have no willpower when it comes to the like chocolates and stuff that's always around during Christmas time.
Yeah, I don't. I try to stay away from most of that. It's not really good for the old sugar. So, and I don't like sugar-free. Plus, you can't eat a lot of sugar-free because that leads to other issues. So, it's just best to stay away from it altogether. But anyway, other than that, I'm fine. How about yourself?
I'm good. I had a nice month or so, almost like 6 weeks off from teaching. So I felt really refreshed, you know what I mean? And then we started teaching week of January 5th. So it's kind of like I had Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. I had like a lot of time where I just didn't really have to think too much about work. I mean, I always have to think about work because as a teacher, there's always another quarter coming up. There's more always classes to plan for, prepare for, especially stuff that I haven't taught in a while. So it's like, oh, I got to brush up on this, or I got to read up on that, or whatever. So, I mean, it's like any other job. You have to put stuff into it. Unfortunately, a lot of that, it's not just me showing up and teaching. A lot of the stuff that I do is like before, you know what I mean? It's like before. Teaching in the class is only part of the class, but yeah, I mean,
know it.
Yeah, of course you do, because you were a teacher for how long?
Not very long. A good time, not a long time.
A good time, not a long time. Yeah. But yeah,
my student loan would say otherwise, but
Yeah, the student loans are going to outlive any job that you might have gotten with the student loan.
Oh, yeah, they certainly did.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a job now where I can stop thinking about it. No matter how hard I try to stop thinking about it, it just always creeps back into my head. And the next thing you know, it's Monday again. So, yeah. Did get a few days off at Christmas, though, so that was nice.
Yeah. That is nice. So did you get anything like card or hockey related for Christmas?
Well, my kids got me. This was kind of a joke. They were what's the term the kids use? They were trolling me, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son works at Target.
Oh, cool.
And happened to stroll over to the card section and grabbed a couple of repacks for me, because we all know how much I love repacks. And they thought it was hilarious, because when I opened it up, I saw that they were repacks, and they both busted out laughing because they thought it was the funniest thing ever. So, yeah, that's what they got me. They were interesting. I will say that. They were interesting. A lot of O-Pee-Chee in there, and a lot of Series 2 from various 2020 years of Upper Deck. Not a whole lot of other things. There would be like one off here and there of a pack. I think there were 8 or 10 packs in each box. So, and each one had a package of Teeny Mates in it too. For those that don't remember what Teeny Mates are, they're little tiny miniature NHL players that look like they should fit on the top of a pencil,
Mm-hmm.
like a pencil eraser, like those old school pencil erasers that you stick on. So those were fun and different. But that's about it. I didn't. I think 4 or 5 days after Christmas, my wife and I went to our LCS and picked up a couple things, but that wasn't really Christmas presents. That was just Saturday. So that's it.
Nice.
How about you?
Wait, does your son get a discount at Target?
Yeah, he has
And does
an
that
employee
include that
discount.
on cards?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know what his discount is.
See, you could become the ultimate flipper because you have somebody who works there who can get the cards for you when they come out and get them for you at a discount.
I always ask him, like, what do you got on the shelf? And he's like, nothing. A whole lot of nothing usually. But I think we've had him buy stuff for us once or twice and just paid him back. But I've never gone in there and been like, hey, I need your discount. I got to buy this. I got to buy that. I used to hate when I would work places and I'd have people do that to me. Can I use your discount? No, go get a job.
It depends.
So.
I guess it depends how easy or hard it is to share your discount. Like when I worked a job at a t-shirt store in the mall, they were always like, obviously, like, you know, they don't want their employees to steal. And they said to me when they hired me, they said, you can't give your friends free shirts, but you can give your friends your employee discount. And I used to get 30% off. So I just tell people, you know, if they, oh man, can you hook me up? Because I got you a free coffee from the place that I worked at. Can't you give me a $15 t-shirt? And, you know, which is idiot logic, but you'd be surprised with some people. And I would just flat out say, no, I can't give you free merchandise, but I can give you my discount. And usually that was good enough for people. Like, oh, okay, 30%. That's something, you know. 10% is almost like a kick in the pants, like, especially like when you work for the company and they're like, you got 10% off at the company store. And it's like, yay, I saved sales tax. Yay.
Yeah, most retail I've ever worked has either been 10 or 15. I don't think I've ever worked anywhere it's been higher than that. So
I've had higher, but I mean, it was for like usually smaller companies would do better than like bigger companies. I think when I worked at Kohl's, it was like 10%. When I worked at the comic shop, I think my discount was like 40%. It was pretty big. It was like 30 or 40%. It was pretty sizable. And then the t-shirt store was like 30%. And then when I worked for the toy company, for a while, we used to get stuff at like 50% off. So like if a Thomas the Tank Engine sold at our company toy store for $10, we'd get it for $5.
That's pretty good.
Pretty awesome.
That stuff was hot back in the day.
Oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, man. Thomas, he was the man, and he was also the tank engine and very useful. You know, I did get a couple of quickly. I just want to talk about the things I got for Christmas because, you know, I always complain about like, oh great, I got a Target gift card, which I guess you could buy blasters at Target, but you should buy clothes. But I got an eBay gift card, which to me is like the ultimate.
That's good.
Yeah. And I've already spent a portion of it. Somebody was selling, I wanted to get the complete 23-24 Skybox Metal Universe set with the short prints. And it's not that expensive of a set, but somebody had the set that you could get from ePack, where you'd combine 5 base versions, which you couldn't get as real cards anyways on ePack, but 5 base versions, and I think also 5 of the rookie versions, and then you combine them, and then they're like
the purple ones.
They're not the purple ones, but they're like shinier. Instead of like having like that dull finish, like just to give you it's like the difference between O-Pee-Chee Platinum and O-Pee-Chee Platinum Rainbow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the rainbow version, but they had a different name for it. but they looked really cool, and it was
Spectrum, probably.
Spectrum, I think that was it. But it wasn't like the Spectrum FX. It could have been Spectrum FX, but it wasn't purple or blue or gold or anything like that. But
I got you.
it was, I looked it up, and then I kind of looked, and I said, well, if I bought this on ePack, and I said, okay, well, once I buy a Connor Bedard, that just throws it out the window, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, okay, 50-cent card, oh, this one's a $2 card, this one's, okay, this one's, so then I was like eyeing it, and I watched it, and then like a day later, the guy sent me a best offer, and I said, okay, I got it. Best offer and free shipping. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to buy this. So I'm excited about that, and I still have some of the gift card left over, like more than half of it. And I got my sister took me and my girlfriend to a Blackhawks game against the Red Wings so that we could see Patrick Kane. And the Blackhawks got shut out 4-0.
Yeah.
Kane got, I think he got an assist in that game, and then he also got hurt. Now, I think he got a goal and an assist, and he got hurt. And we were hoping he would get to his 500th goal, but in that game, but it didn't happen because he got injured. And the Blackhawks got shut out, but I did get a Chris Chelios bobblehead, so that's awesome. Because not a big bobblehead fan, but I do like, of course, Chris Chelios, my favorite player. And then just like a little stocking stuffer, no pun intended on this, but something that my girlfriend gave me, one of the gifts she gave me, and it's this thing, it says premium hockey socks. So I'm thinking, okay, hockey socks, like, are these like the socks you wear when you play hockey? Because this box is too thin. You've played hockey, you know how thick those hockey socks are and how tall they are. They go up to your knees, but they're just like these dress socks. But one of them says, please do not disturb. And the other one says, I'm watching hockey. Actually, I should hold them like this. There we go. Please do not disturb.
I'm watching hockey. Okay.
Right. So I guess when you're like sitting on the couch and you got your feet up, this is what it says. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway.
See.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, who would know what the bottom of your feet say?
Right, exactly. So yeah, so that was some of the stuff that I got for Christmas. I mean, I don't have that big of a family, so it's not like I get like a million things for Christmas, but that's okay because it's not about what you get. Get when you're a little kid, it's like, oh, presents, and then when you get older, you're just like, okay, this is nice. You kind of like anything that you really want outside of like an automobile or like real estate is like stuff that you could buy on your own. You know what I mean?
It's what we always say. We're adults now. We all have jobs. So
right.
There's no need for buying gifts. If we want something or need something, we just buy it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So here's what's on the docket for today's episode. We're going to talk about Bob Pulford, former NHL player, NHL coach, and executive who passed away. We're going to talk about Glenn Hall, the great goaltender, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, who also passed away. We're going to talk about Patrick Kane finally scoring his 500th goal. No, he didn't do it against the Blackhawks. That just would have been sweet, but he did eventually score his 500th goals. We'll talk about Kaner and his legacy thus far. And then we're going to talk about 25-26 Upper Deck MVP hockey cards. Now, those cards did come out at the end of July of 2025, but they recently went on sale, or they recently became available on ePack like a couple days ago. So they're kind of relevant again because now they're on ePack, and we'll talk about, how that kind of gives second life to like a set after it comes out. So Bob Pulford, who passed away, he was 89 years old. So Pulford was a long time 16 years. That's a long time. He played in the NHL for 16 years, 14 with the Maple Leafs, 2 with the Los Angeles Kings. He also was their coach for, I think, 5 years. He won the Stanley Cup 4 times with the Maple Leafs, and he played over 1,000 games in the NHL. He led the league in shorthanded goals 3 times. And what else? He was the first president of the National Hockey League Players Association, which is kind of ironic if you ask me, and I'll explain why a little later. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1991 in the players category. And like I said, he was a coach for 12 years. He's a Kings coach. He was a Blackhawks coach. Seemed like every time the Blackhawks fired their coach, they would bring back in Pulford. It almost kind of became like this recurring joke, like, oh, okay, and they fired the coach, and it's going to be Pulford again, or because he was the GM, and then he would like fire the coach and then just put himself back as coach. He did win Coach of the Year in 1975. And then in addition to coaching, he was also the GM or senior vice president of the Blackhawks. And so it's funny. If you talk to a Maple Leafs fan, they'll talk about Pulford. They'll talk about what a good penalty killer he was and what an expert checker he was. And, just they'll get all teary-eyed about their 1967 Maple Leafs, and that's fine. I'm going to get all teary-eyed about my 2010 Blackhawks one day. Actually, that day could be today, But
they're kind of justified for that. They don't have a whole lot to cheer for since then, but
right? No, I get it. No, I totally get it.
He was a great player back then.
Yeah,
tough. He played both sides of the puck.
Yep,
and the fact that they were able to win 4 Stanley Cups when you had, the Blackhawks with Hull and Nikita, you had Gordie Howe on the wings, you had, a Canadians team that was stacked with John Beliveau and everybody else. He was that pivot guy for the Maple Leafs during that time frame. So
right. Yeah, no, I agree. And so what I'm saying, though, is that it's like different. It's like if you talk to a Maple Leafs fan, they'll be like, Pulford, we love the guy. You talk to a Blackhawks fan, you're like, Pulford, we hate the guy. You know what I mean? It's just because it was like once he kind of went to the other side, right? So when he was a player, he was one of the best penalty killers in the league. And he was the first president of the Players Association. So obviously he already had management in mind, you know what I mean? Like a more administrative role, higher level, not just a player, but a player who could think and can plan and can, do that sort of thing. Then he became a coach, and he was accomplished as a coach. The thing is that when he became a Blackhawk, when he was a Blackhawks coach, he didn't treat Stan Mikita too well. And you look at the end of Mikita's career, he's like healthy scratch, didn't play a lot of games, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the problem is that you have a guy, who was your like opponent for a number of years, and now he's your boss. And you put aside that grudge. Now, I'm not saying he held the grudge, but I've heard other people say he did. So I don't know. It's just
a different time frame back then.
It was.
The league prior to 1980 was a whole different world. And you'll hear old guys talk about it all the time. Like, the way the league is now, and you see everything, and it's like we get commercials on TV, and you got players from all the different teams and doing different stuff, and they put all these things together. You would never, ever see opposing players from different teams like doing anything together.
Right. And
if they were seen in public. Oh, it was crazy.
What did Gordie Howe famously say? That the guy's trying to take food off my table.
Yeah.
The opponent, if he beats me, he's taking food off my table. So, yeah, I get that. But then it's like, well, when you become that guy's boss, well, he's not really trying to take food off your table anymore. But
no, I know what you're saying.
But, and so for like the same reasons, like Bobby Hull was going to come back to the Blackhawks in 79 when the WHA merged with the NHL. And he was on the Jets, but he was supposed to go back to the Blackhawks, but the Blackhawks had no intentions of keeping him or bringing him back on the team. And, that would have made everybody in Chicago happy. Like, if the Golden Jet played his final year in Chicago, that would have been fantastic. But instead he ends up on the Whalers. So, okay, that's fine. So Bobby Hull finished his career with the Hartford Whalers. But Pulford had a big, it was his decision. Like, no, we're not going to retain Bobby Hull. And then when Hull and Mikita retired, they were kind of not really involved in any Blackhawk stuff. Like, you might see Mikita, or you didn't really see Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull he didn't come to the Blackhawk games. Stan Mikita didn't come to the Blackhawk games. I remember in 1990 when Stan Mikita was at a something called the Chicago Hockey Show, which was sponsored in part by ProSet. And Mikita was there, and everybody was making a big, like, oh my God, Stan Mikita. Stan Mikita's here signing autographs. Like, everybody was, and I was just like, well, okay, he's a former Blackhawk. What's the big deal? A lot of former Blackhawks sign autographs. And they're like, no, Mikita has really, the team they didn't quite shun him, but I don't know. So that kind of had to do with like Pulford's influence on Bill Wirtz, who was the owner. So I think that's just kind of why I'm a little Pulford
was all the time.
Huh?
It happens all the time. When the Fenway Sports Group bought the Penguins, Mario Lemieux was nowhere to be found. He used to be at like every game, be up there all the time, and then he was gone. So, no idea. To this day, we still don't know why. But now that they've sold again, maybe he'll come back. But whatever. Yeah. So I mean, every team has drama. Every team has drama.
Yeah.
It's a shame though when you have the old school guys like that could be a part of your, legacy and your heritage, and keep that connection between the old school and the new school, and to have them out of the picture for so long. But we've talked about it before. I mean, I think Blackhawks ownership was one of the big detriments to their success throughout the 1980s and into the 90s.
Right.
They were that team that, could never get to the point where they were pushing the Oilers away, because the Oilers were the juggernaut in the West. And they just weren't building the teams, and they weren't on TV, and,
right.
People couldn't watch. It was just, you can't grow a franchise if you don't have eyeballs. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, and not all of that was on Pulford. It was more just to manage the player personnel and management decisions. But even Bill Wirtz, said, winning championships is expensive, right? He wasn't really like, oh, let's go out and pay, millions of dollars for these players. So yeah, it's just, but nonetheless, Pulford, one thing I'll just say that was really interesting, and I know you mentioned this before we started recording. You said that Pulford was a yes man, and that's why the Blackhawks kept him around so long. And I'll say this, when Rocky Wirtz took over the team after his father, Bill Wirtz, died, he didn't fire Bob Pulford, but he just gave him a different job, like something that had to do with like, what was it? It was like the, actually I can tell you right now, I have it right here. He was, Wirtz, he was named an officer in the Wirtz Corporation. So basically, like the parent company of the Blackhawks, but they basically got him away from like the team itself, like the day to day. And I think the thing is that what I think was nice about that is that like none of the Blackhawk fans wanted to have Pulford involved with the team, but you can't like also fault the guy for being loyal to the team. You know what I mean? Like, even though he did stuff that didn't really help the Blackhawks succeed as a franchise, he did everything that Bill Wirtz asked him to do. You know what I mean? So you can't fire somebody for being loyal. So I thought it was good that they still kept him in the picture, because he was a fixture on the team for such a long time.
I think that's part of some of that goes into what you mentioned before about him. He was a coach, and then he wasn't. Then he was a GM, and then he was the president, and then he was a coach, and then he was GM, and then he was a president, and then he was an executive over here, and then a coach again, and then, because he was loyal, I think, to the Wirtz family.
Yep.
And I call him a yes man just because the orders, I mean, he was giving marching orders, and that's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at some of the old like recordings of him doing press conferences, you could clearly see he hated every moment of it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he couldn't stand doing press conferences. Like he just wanted it to be about the game. He didn't want to talk to the press. He didn't want to talk to the media. He didn't want to talk to people. He didn't want to deal with it. He's an old school guy. If you hear all the stories about him, I mean, he literally was the old school guy, but he was all for the players. And that's why he became kind of controversial. And you sort of touched on it. You know, him being the first president of the NHL Players Association, he had a kind of a pretty progressive outlook on how players should be treated, how players should get paid and compensated, and all of that kind of stuff. And that was one of the reasons that got him like tossed off of the Maple
Kings.
Leafs.
Oh,
No, he got
Maple
tossed off the Maple Leafs and sent to the Kings,
Mm-hmm.
part of that expansion, because he was a rebel rouser. And, you know, fast forward, then he becomes an executive. The table turns, right? And now he's famously quoted as saying how the changes in the salary structuring were going to lead to the demise of the league. And people called him out on the table. They're like, 15 years ago, you were saying the complete opposite of that. He's like, well, you gotta go the way that goes. So, but Pulford, a lot of people don't realize that he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Right.
Like he's a name that you don't hear often as a Hockey Hall of Famer. And I think a lot of that has to do with he's that old school player that most modern people, that's not even the right phrase, younger people, I guess, people from the age of 60 and below would recognize him more as an executive rather than a player, because he was kind of done before any of us were alive.
Right.
So, but yeah, 91, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And it's funny because, Hall of Famers, they do get some love when it comes to like card collecting. I could honestly tell you, other than Leafs fans, I don't know anybody that considers themselves a Bob Pulford collector. But you could easily become one, because if you believe what Trading Card Database says, he only has 177 cards. So it should be easy to rip through those. He's got, going all the way back to 57, 58 with his Parkhurst rookie. But I think my favorite card of him is the 58, 59 Parkhurst, and I have that card. It's just in my ComC account. But I always like that card just because it's very colorful, and he looks kind of like a superhero on it.
I don't know if I have that one. What's it called? I have
I don't have his rookie, but that's the oldest one of him I have.
I don't remember. Doesn't he have a 91 Pro Set card? Like, isn't he in that like Pro Set award winner set?
I know he's in the Hall of Fame one.
Yeah, that Pro Set put out.
They're like sepia colored.
Yeah. That's a tough to find card.
All of those ones are.
No. But I mean, it was given away. It was like a giveaway.
Right. You would think there would have been a billion of them, but you can't find them that much.
Yeah. So,
I don't have a lot of Pulford cards except in like the early 70s sets, and there aren't that many. I mean, he's got a 71, 72 card. Which is funny because, so here's another funny thing about that. You look at his 71, 72 card, the photo that they use of him looks very similar to the one you have on the screen right now. He looks pretty young, but he doesn't have a card, like a regular card, until 74, 75. And by that time, he was the head coach of the Kings, and he's depicted in wearing a Kings jersey but it says head coach on the card.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I'm glad
what
you
I was
brought up.
getting at is it's only like 2 years later, as far as or 3 years later, as far as the manufacturing goes, and the age difference of what he looks like on the 71 card versus the 74 card is vast. So that's why I always wonder, like, where did they get that photo for 71, 72? Because it's clearly airbrushed because he's still in a Leafs jersey, but he just looks way younger in that than he does in 3 years later.
Well, almost looks like they used the same photo on his 70-71 card as they did the 71. No, maybe not. It's
And
pretty similar.
Maybe it was another one in the pack of photos they took. They just grabbed it.
Because it's
Could
like
have came from 68. Who knows?
I mean, it's a Leafs headshot. I mean, they would reuse pictures for a couple of years. But yeah, I thought that was funny how I'm glad you brought up how his 74-75 Topps and O-Pee-Chee cards, it's a coach's card, but he's pictured as a player.
Yeah, he's got the jersey on.
And they did that with a couple of guys who were like players turned coaches. I think Alex Delvecchio was another coach that year, and I think he's pictured in a Red Wings jersey, but he's like the coach. So just kind of funny. Oh, yeah, he is in the 91-92 Pro Set Hall of Fame induction set, which is like a pretty tough set to find. And, it's a good action shot of him playing. And, it's a sepia-toned photo. So it's just funny when you have a guy who played in like the 60s and 70s, but they have a Pro Set card, which is just such a 90s thing, But
I mean, other than like in the game that would do a lot of throwback stuff, he doesn't have a lot of modern cards other than like, I think 02 Topps Heritage. There's like a reprint of him in there and various sets throughout the modern years, but most of his stuff all comes from the late 50s and through the 60s.
Yeah.
So.
And then he could be found in some of the Blackhawks team issued sets from the 80s as like an executive, 70s and 80s. I think I got a card of him where he's like coaching, or running a practice or something, like a postcard. Yeah. I mean, he was a part of the team for a long time. Shall we talk about the other guy who was a part of the Blackhawks for a long time?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Glenn Hall. So Mr. Goalie Glenn Hall passed away recently. He played in the NHL for 18 years with the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, and the Blues. Kind of got a color theme going there, right? Red, black, and blue. He won the Stanley Cup. So this is interesting. He won the Stanley Cup with the Red Wings in 52. He didn't actually play. He was just what I guess they would have called their standby goaltender. That was when they would have another goalie call up, sit in the press box or in the stands, and they wouldn't play. So the Red Wings won the Cup in 52. Hall did not play on that team, but they still had his name put on the Cup. So he's still considered a Cup winner in 52, even though he had yet to play an NHL game. Then he won the Cup in 61 with the Blackhawks, and that team was just stacked with legends. And I'm surprised the Hawks didn't win more than one Cup than in 61 because, you had Hall and Mikita, you had Palat, you had Hall, you had just so many good players, great players on that team. Speaking of players associations, Hall was traded from the Red Wings to the Blackhawks along with Ted Lindsay. And the reason was because Lindsay and Hall were trying to start a players association. And the Red Wings management said to Glenn Hall, don't talk to that Lindsay, don't talk to Ted Lindsay. And Hall, being, a young guy, late teens, early 20s, however old he was during his rookie year, he said, I'll talk to whoever the hell I want, or I'll talk to whoever I damn well please, or something along those lines, right? Like, you're not going to tell me who to talk to and who not to talk to. So they traded Lindsay as punishment to the Blackhawks to And then they also traded Hall to the Blackhawks. So talk about shooting themselves in the foot, because Glenn Hall won the Calder Trophy as the Rookie of the Year. And then he played 2 seasons with the Red Wings, played all the games, and then he gets traded. So he didn't get traded after his rookie year, got traded after 2 years. He ended up playing, out of the 906 regular season NHL games that Glenn Hall played, he played a string of 502 consecutive games where he was the starter. That is a record. 502 consecutive starts. He was also inducted into the Hall of Fame in 75. I mean, Tim, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to this before we get into a look at some of his awards.
Look, we had all the hullabaloo over Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's goal scoring record. That's a record that most of us didn't think would get touched, let alone broken. But it happened. This one, I will assure you, will never be broken. Never. 502 consecutive regular season games. I don't think most people can fathom what that means, because in today's NHL, we're talking goalies here. Modern goalies have rotations. Look at every team in the league. They have at least 2 goaltenders that are regular. I shouldn't say household names, because some casual hockey fans wouldn't know any of them, but most hockey fans can probably name both goaltenders on both teams, because they rotate. They rotate a lot. And the game today is super fast, and teams are uber conscious about the health and safety of their goaltenders. Look at all the rules they put into the league that say you can't touch a goaltender, and you can't come near a goaltender, and you don't breathe on a goaltender. So, I mean, this stuff did not exist back then. He went out there every single night without being part of a rotation, never took a night off. Load management wasn't even a phrase back then. And he went out there just taking shot after shot after shot, having guys run him over, and he didn't wear a mask for a long part of his career. Not to mention, he's one of the first butterfly goaltenders. He played in an era where most goaltenders just stood up, because that was the thing. You stood there like you were in a standing position. But he played butterfly, and, getting down within the shot radius of where people are firing a puck at you without a helmet on. No, thank you. I'm not doing that. I'll pass. But it's just crazy, because, he played in an original 6 era. And I mean,
well, this was the era where a goalie would get hurt and they would delay the game so that the goalie could get stitched up.
Yeah, because you can't really pull your goaltender. It's not like you have any back. You don't necessarily have a backup that you can put in there. At the time.
Sometimes it was just you'd put in the team trainer and you'd suit him up to
finish
the game.
And how many times did you see where if a goalie did have to come off, he would take off the equipment and the guy they put in put the equipment back on, because he only had one set of equipment.
Right. And I feel like this is a lot of times where if the goalie got hurt, and maybe would finish the game hurt, or they'd stitch him up and they'd put him back out. And then, and I want to say that maybe the teams were cheap back then and they didn't want to pay 2 goaltenders, and we could call up this kid from the minors, but if Glenn's going to be better in a day, we'll just wait and see how he feels, in 2 days. And then when we play our next game, we'll put him back in. Right. Yeah. And you're right. There was, again, and I'm glad that you brought up that Glenn Hall was a butterfly goalie, because I believe he was the first butterfly goalie.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the first, but
one
he
of
definitely
the
was
first.
one of them. Yeah.
But I think somebody, I heard this said, and I could be wrong about this, and I should really research this a little better before I say this, but from what I understand, Hall was one of the first butterfly goalies but that style didn't really take off until Patrick Waugh. And you gotta, so Waugh popularized it, but Hall was like the innovator behind it, or an innovator behind it. And look, guys like Glenn Hall and guys who even played in the 70s, even the guys who played in the 70s with masks, they were not falling down back then. The whole falling down thing didn't really happen until you started to have goalies that grew up wearing masks and were falling down. So then what are they going to do? They're going to train the next generation of goalies to fall down and stop the puck, right? And that didn't really become more of a common thing until the mask was invented, or popularized, I should say, because they had goalie masks going back to like the 1910s, whether it was wearing a fencing mask, or a catcher's mask, or a wrestling mask, or something to just protect like an injury, like, oh, I have a broken nose or something, I'm going to wear this whatever, right? And so
there's a lot of photos of Jacques Plante wearing or down in those positions once he had the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And Tretiak used that style during the Summit Series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of people started paying attention from that point forward. And it kind of evolved from there. Didn't Tony Esposito? He was kind of a butterfly guy.
Yeah, but he always wore a mask in the NHL.
Oh, he wore a mask. Yeah.
And he played college also, and they would wear masks in that. Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because Hall wore a mask with the Blues. Like, it's just funny because like up until that point, I don't know if he wore one with the Blackhawks. I do know though that just a couple of other interesting tidbits is that Hall used to throw up before every game.
Yeah, so when he passed away, NHL Network Radio was running an interview that they'd done with him years and years ago, and they asked him about the whole thing. Like, they're, the old wives' tale always goes that there was a bucket or a trash can on the bench for Hull to throw up in all the time. And he's like, yeah, that's a better story than the reality. He's like, there wasn't a bucket on the bench, but my nerves got the best of me most nights. And so I'd be puking in the garbage can back in the locker room and stuff before the game. So, yeah.
I know that like there was like a joke where like Hall wanted to retire, and the Blackhawks would always talk him out of retirement for one more year. And he'd always say, because he was a farmer, and he'd always say, I got to paint my barn. Like, no, I can't play this fall. I got to paint my barn. And they'd always find a way to get him to come out of retirement and play another season. And then he was he was with the Blues. So couple of just a rundown of his awards. He won the Calder Trophy in 1956. He won the Vezina Trophy in 63, 67, and 69 as the league's top goaltender. He won the Conn Smythe Trophy in 1968 as being the Stanley Cup MVP, even though they lost that year. He was the MVP for the Blues. He was an NHL first-team All-Star 7 times and a second-team All-Star 4 times, and his number 1 was retired by the Blackhawks in 1988. Oh, fun fact, the last guy to wear number 1 before it got retired by the Blackhawks, care to guess who that was?
The last guy to wear number 1. I feel like it's a goaltender.
Well, yes, it is a goaltender because the Blackhawks are
because no one else is going to wear that.
Pretty uncreative when it came to like giving numbers.
So if it was retired in 88, so maybe before, I don't know.
Give you a hint. He's also in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
It's not Espo, is it?
No, because Tony O wore 35.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why? Unless he wore number 1 just by accident. I don't know. I give up.
Last goalie to wear number 1 before it was retired was Ed Belfour.
Prior to 88?
Ed Belfour started the 88-89 season, and he was given number 1. He was Darren Pang's backup goaltender.
Huh.
Then
Did not know that.
When the team decided that they were going to retire Glenn Hall's number, they switched Belfour to number 31.
Nice.
So he only had number 1 from early October to around, I think it was like November 18th or November 20th of 88. So yeah, I mean, just however many games that is, Ed Belfour wore number 1.
Nice.
But you know what? There were a ton of goalies that wore 1 in the 70s and 80s because after Hall went to the Blues and then ultimately retired. I mean, you know, Mike Weiser wore number 1 and Gary Smith, I believe, maybe he wore number 1. But then a lot of those guys also sometimes wore number 30. And then sometimes you had 2 guys wear number 1 because you know how they didn't put the names on the back. So sometimes they'd send a goalie down to the minors. They'd call up a goalie from the minors and they'd say, here, you're number 1. You know what I mean? So that was just how it was back then. Oh, this guy got traded. Okay, now you're number 1.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I never would have guessed Belfour because I didn't realize that's when he was on the team.
Well, you know, it's funny. I found a photo of Belfour and he's wearing number 1 and I bought it and it was autographed. But what was funny is that it was autographed and he inscribed it Ed Belfour 31. So it was after he had changed numbers, but before he ended up like really playing for the Blackhawks and winning the Calder Trophy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Glenn Hall, did you want to talk about some of his cards? Because I have his rookie card pictured here, and that's something I picked up maybe 10 years ago, and I'm glad I did. It's such an interesting card because he's like looks like he's trying to make a glove save, but he doesn't even fit on the card. It's almost like a card that should be horizontal because he's like cut off.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Strange layout. I will say that you know, the fact that he went through that entire streak without a mask and he only career-wise took a little over 300 stitches. But he does have more than 300 cards. In fact, Glenn Hall has about 2,200 cards or so that you could collect. So much more prevalent because obviously much more what's the right word? Impactful type player, much more memorable player, much more aligned with Hall of Fame caliber.
Well, and goalies are popular and important, and so you have a set of hockey cards. They're always going to try to include one goalie from every team. I mean, we can look at some examples of top sets in like the late 80s where you might look at a team and be like, oh yeah, they didn't put any goalies in the Maple Leaf team set, but there were like only 5 cards. So, you know, or whatever, right? But as far as just like mainstream or especially like 50s and 60s, you're going to have like one goalie per team, at least.
I pulled, knowing we were going to talk about Mr. Goalie, I pulled a couple Glenn Hall cards that were my favorite in my collection. So we got this bad boy, 60-61 tops. I like this card because he looks like he's looking directly into the sun for that photo. He's just squinting. He can't even see. His eyes are almost closed. So I always thought that card's cool. Plus the design, they're all colorful.
That's a really cool set. That's the Stan Mikita rookie year.
Yeah. And then, of course, my other favorite one. Can't go wrong with a Glenn Hall autograph.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to see because he wrote it in gold. It's like gold paint pen.
Gold paint pen against the brown pads and the black pants.
But you can see him down in his goalie style. So that's like a perfect picture of him with that signature on there. So
you know, you are
those are
allowed,
a couple of my favorites.
You are allowed to take the cards out of the top loaders. I said you are allowed to take the cards out of the top loaders.
No, you can't do that.
Yes, you can. Huh?
It's impossible.
Yeah, I the only card I had time to to show off was my 57-58 Topps Glenn Hall rookie card, and I remember like seeing it at a show, and then like I don't think it was it wasn't. This was before I was a seller, and I remember like seeing it at a show, and then just like running back to the guy's table as they were closing, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, do you still have that Glenn Hall rookie card? And the guy he was putting his cases in like zipper bags, but it was just like the one that he just had his hand on. He's like, oh yeah, no problem. And he of course they want to make a last minute sale, but I hate being that guy like, hey, I'm sorry, I was thinking about it all day, but I thought about it, and I'm like, well, it'll be here tomorrow. And I'm like, no, I need to get this.
Yeah.
I need this.
That card's worth the extra effort.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then the card was worth less than what it was worth now, but also my disposable income was far less than it was now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I paid like $95 for it or something, and it's not in the greatest shape, as you can see. It's got rounded corners. It's got a few dimples on it, or a few I think those are like printer marks or whatever. But it's like just really, I don't know what do the breakers say? It's got, or the graders say it's got good eye appeal. It's got good eye appeal.
My 6061 has nice sharp corners, but it's got a crease right down it. I don't care. It's still awesome.
Nah, I got a few creases now. Yeah, I'll tell you was a couple of what was it? I only saw Glenn Hall. I only met him one time, and that was at a Chicago Blackhawk convention, and he was signing autographs. And I got a couple of all the things I could have gotten signed. I think I got a few tall boys, the 64-65 Parkhurst cards that were made in the 90s, but they looked like 60s cards. I got 2 of those signed. And because I'm not a big signed puck, signed jersey kind of guy. And I feel like signed photos. I mean, I probably bought some signed photos already at a convention. So usually when I meet a player, it's about getting something really specific that I want signed. But I just remember him. He's just this little. I mean, he just looked so small and old, and he was just very very quiet, very nice. And I was just like, oh, hello, Mr. Goalie. He's like, oh, hello, how are you? You know, and he just very nicely signed the cards. And I think he was only there, let me think, as not as a favor, but it was because Scotty Bowman was involved with the Blackhawks. So he was able to talk Glenn Hall into coming to one of the Blackhawk conventions, and that was just really cool. I'm glad I got to meet him, even though I didn't really talk to him that much. But yeah, he was just always when he was involved in things, he was always just really nice.
That interview I was talking about earlier, he talks about Scotty Bowman in that interview a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like huge impact on his life because him going to the Blues. I mean, he was the first pick in the expansion draft for the Blues, so he was basically the first Blue, and Scotty Bowman was their coach. So, he had a lot of interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, I mean, those Blues made it to the finals 3 years in a row. Lost 3 years in a row, but they made. I mean, of course, the league was made up so that you had the expansion teams all in one division.
Yeah, some expansion team had to go against some juggernaut.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's like whoever's the best of the worst has to go against the best of the best.
right. Yeah.
So,
Well, they wanted to try to make sure that they get like it. I don't know. I mean, that was kind of like a TV thing. Like the NHL put they wanted teams in Oakland and LA because like NBC or whomever was broadcasting games at the time. Basically, none of the networks wanted to preempt their stuff if they're like, look, the NHL only exists on the East Coast and Chicago. You know what I mean? And Canada, right? Like, how do you get people in Los Angeles excited about a Bruins Rangers game? You can't, right? So you give them, you uh, put some expansion teams out west, and they did that. And then it was like, okay, well now let's make sure that one of the expansion teams is always in the finals, at least for the first couple of years.
Could you imagine if an expansion team in one of those first few years would have won the Stanley Cup? People would have lost their minds.
Oh my God, they would have been crying harder than they were crying in 2018 about the Vegas Golden Knights.
That's the joke I was making.
Yeah. Well, I guess they were an expansion team.
Uh-huh.
Shall we talk about Showtime?
Sure.
Patrick Kane finally scored his 500th goal. Now, when my sister bought me tickets to that Blackhawks Red Wings game, and she's like, okay, pick a game you want to go to. And I looked at the schedule and I said, okay, well, this game is on a Saturday and it's Chris Chelios bobblehead night and it's against the Red Wings. So it's just like the stars aligned. I'm like, okay, this would be like the coolest game to go to. And if Kaner scores his 500th goal by then, it'd be even better. That didn't happen, but he eventually did a couple weeks later because then he got hurt, and then he came back. So Patrick Kane was the 50th player to score 500 goals in the NHL. Now he's third among American players in scoring, right? Like look at like a list of Americans, right? So you got Brett Hull with 1,391 points. You got Mike Modano with 1,374 points. And then you got Patrick Kane with 1,370 points. So Kaner is 4 points away from tying Mike Modano, and he is 21 points away from tying Brett Hull. And then there's quite a few players that he can surpass in the all-time goal scoring list. But Tim, what do you think? What do you think about this? I mean, I'm a fanboy. I watched Patrick Kane play in Chicago for many years, so of course I'm gonna just say great things about him no matter what. But I mean, you're a little more casual. You're a Penguins fan, so you kind of have a little bit more of an objectionate view of the Blackhawks and their players. So what are your thoughts?
You mean the Red Wings and their players?
No, I'm talking about when Kane was a Blackhawk and he was like one of the.
Look, I'm not going
best.
to take it away from Kane. He's a great goal scorer. He's a great all-around player. You know, nothing against him at all. I was actually surprised when they were. See, we're in one of those years where like every day and every game there's a milestone that's being hit. We're at one of those years. Like it seems like every 10 years or so we get to that point where there's a season where 1 million milestones are set. I thought Kane hit 500 goals a long time ago, but apparently not. So it was a shock to me that he was just now coming up to the 500 goal mark. And I think maybe that has to do with the injuries and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, which, it is what it is, but for him be on the all-time list is cool. The fact that he's another U.S.-born player that's rolling up on that list, that's wiping some Canadians off of the list, I'm all for that. I'm joking. Not really. But yeah, like as far as U.S. born players to score 500 goals, I mean, it's a small list. So the fact that he's on there with the likes of, the Keith Kachucks and the Mike Madonos and the Jeremy Roenick's, I mean, it's pretty good company.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Kane never had a 50-goal season. Closest he got was 46 goals in 15-16, and that was the year that he won the Art Ross Trophy. And he had 106 points total that year, and he had Artemi Panarin as his line mate, and Panarin won the Calder Trophy that year. So, but looking just at like his first 5 years, 21 goals, 25 goals, 30 goals, 27 goals, 23 goals, right? So, and that was, there's only been 2 times that he's topped over 100 points. A lot of the times he's like between 60 and 90 points or 60 and 80 points. So, when you say all around player, right? Like he was never, he's not a 50 goal scorer. He's not a, 100 is, I don't know what would be our milestone for assists. I mean, I know back in the 90s used to be if you got 50 goals or if you got maybe 100 assists, although very few players were getting that many assists in a season. I don't know, 50 assists, whatever. I mean, he got a lot of assists. I mean, he's got 870 assists right now. So as of this recording. So, I mean, he's elite and he played a long time. He did get injured and, he had that kind of that down year where he ended up with the Rangers. And that was kind of like it kind of looked like it was going to end for him. Kind of looked like it could go either way, right? Like, because he was already kind of like a veteran player. I don't say long in the tooth, but you know what I mean, right? Like, if you're Crosby and you're 40, well, you're going to keep playing. But if you're Kane and you're whatever late 30s and you're not producing and you're not really doing much, you're not going to last long. But he recovered from that surgery and he's been, let's see, like about a point to, I think he got 47 points in 50 games in 23-24. And then he got 59 points in 72 games in 24-25. And right now he has, as of this recording, 27 points in 31 games. So not quite a point a game player, but still up there. You know what I mean? Like still producing.
The fact that he was able to come back from that surgery.
Yes.
In and of itself, at the age that he's at.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of unheard of because hip resurfacing is no joke. And I know these are elite athletes and they have access to all of the state-of-the-art healing techniques and such, but still, players don't really come back from that. At least come back and still are able to produce to the point where a team is willing to take a chance and leave them on a roster. So, sometimes guys will have these surgeries and they'll disappear into the AHL or go overseas and play in the KHL or something like that. But, you're right. He's not quite a point per player, but he's pretty close.
Yeah, but I mean, if you could have Patrick Kane on your team and he would get your team 50 points, would you want him on your team?
I mean, I don't know how anybody would say no to that.
Exactly. So just doing a little projecting here, because looking just at his 2 seasons with the Red Wings, or even if you go back to previous season, 22-23, where he split between Chicago and New York. So he got a total of 21 goals that season. 23-24, he got 20 goals. 24-25, he got 21 goals. So he's averaging, we'll just say 20 goals a season. This year so far, he has 8 goals. Let's just assume he gets to 20 goals again, right? So if he gets to 20 goals, so if he scores another 12 goals, that would put him at 512 for the year. So who could he surpass? Lanny McDonald's is at 500 goals. So he's tied with Lanny right now. He scores a goal, he'll move into 49th. Joy Mullen has 502, another American-born player. So 2 goals ties him, 3 goals surpasses him. Then you got Peter Bondra at 503 goals. So Kaner can move from 50 to 47 with no problem. Then you got the great Jean Beliveau with 507 goals. Then you have John Tavares with 510 goals. The problem is John Tavares is still playing. Not the problem, but he's still playing. So he's going to keep moving up that list. So Kane might not catch, what do you call him? Johnny Pajamas?
Johnny Pajamas.
Johnny Pajamas, right? But he could catch Gilbert Perreault, who has 512 goals. And I'm just projecting if Kane were to score another 12 goals to reach a third 20-goal season, So that would move him to 44th if he reaches Perreault, but actually it'd be 45th because Tavares is probably going to surpass Gilbert Perreault by the end of the season,
Yeah, I mean that 500 to 520-ish is one of those pockets where everybody's real tight together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he plays out this season at the pace he's on and is able to duplicate that maybe for one more year, he'll be in a nice spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, then you look at Jeremy Roenick with 513 goals, another American all-time great. Pierre Turgeon with 515 goals. Dale Hawerchuk with 518 goals. Pat Verbeek with 522. Evgeny Malkin with 523. Think Gino's going to play another year?
Yes.
Okay.
Will it be with the Penguins? I don't know.
You don't think? Really?
Yeah.
That would be. Would you think it'd be in the NHL, or you think you would go back to the KHL?
No, I think it'll be in the NHL.
But not with the Penguins. That seems wrong.
I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying if this were yes, no, maybe so, that would be a maybe so.
Okay. So, well, Malkin is still he's gonna stick around, so he'll keep moving up that list as well. Then you got Brian Trottier with 524 goals, Marian Hossa with 525 goals, Frank Mahavlich with 533 goals, Keith Tkachuk with 538, and the great Stan Mikita with 541, and Stan Mikita's at 34th. So Kane were to get to 20 goals this year, and no, he'd need more than 20 goals next year. Okay, so maybe 541's a bit. Maybe that's like in 3 years if Kane plays until he's 41. But
yeah, that's why I said I could see him bumping up. I don't know that he'll pass Keith Tkachuk though.
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know. Who knows, right? I mean, you never know. I mean, he could. Either way, I mean, it's been fun to. It was fun to watch Patrick Kane play in Chicago. I will say this, just from a collecting standpoint, the people who collect Patrick Kane still collect Patrick Kane. Although I think there's a lot of people who are like, well, he's not on the team anymore, so they don't collect his stuff. But then every now and then I'll throw out some like Red Wings cards and they'll sell, and it'll be to somebody in a Blackhawk jersey because they are a Patrick Kane fan. So he's kind of like maybe it's because the Red Wings are now in the Eastern Conference, but it's not the same kind of dynamic when Chris Chelios went to the Red Wings and everybody was almost like mad at Chelios that he went to the Red Wings. Like the grudge was against him and not the team that traded him. But with Patrick Kane, it's almost like, oh, we're glad that Kaner is still playing. We're happy to see that he's still doing well. Like there doesn't seem to be any hard feelings about him playing in Detroit.
I think it ended differently, though. That's why.
Well, how so?
There was a lot of talk and a lot of vitriol around whether or not the team was going to bring back Kane and Tays.
Yes.
I mean, it was talked about for well over a year. And it just got to a boiling point where everybody was just like, you know what? Let him go. Just let him go. And
right.
You didn't have that with Chelios.
Right.
With Chelios, it was the typical fans want loyalty, and he wasn't loyal, even though that had nothing to do with it.
No, Chelios wanted a 2-year contract, and then he wanted to retire.
Yeah,
and
he wanted to stay there, and the team didn't want to give it to him.
Right.
So, I mean, and the other thing too is, think about it. We're at a different time where everything is public. You know, back then you got your news from the newspaper or on TV. So whatever was put out there, that's what you knew.
Right.
So I think it's a little different time frame for that. But yeah, it's it's sort of the same thing. You got a well-loved player that just goes away, and everybody's like, oh, good luck to him. Rather than, I'm going to kill that guy. No.
Well, and the thing is that the Blackhawk fans wanted to get the first overall pick because they wanted to get Connor Bedard. So they were angling to like, oh, well, Kane should waive his no trade clause. Like that was like the dialogue. Like the guy who says he wants to play for this team and is committed to this team should waive his clause so that he no longer plays for this team. And it wasn't until after they pretty much traded everybody that Patrick Kane liked playing with. I mean, remember, he was on the line with Alex DeBrincat. They traded DeBrincat. Brandon Hagel was on the Blackhawks. Crazy that the Blackhawks had Brandon Hagel. I mean, look at how amazing he's doing this year with Tampa Bay, right? And so they basically they just made it what do you want to call it? A hostile work environment?
I mean, when you take all your friends away.
Take all your friends away and all the guys that could get you the puck and all the guys that could do something with the puck. So,
you sit around your friends in class and you have a good time, and the teacher gets mad and moves you up front by yourself, away from your friends.
How did you know?
Yeah.
How did you know? Dude, you've just described my junior year English class.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to the best of us.
Well, I'm glad that I'm in the best of us, right? Because I remember, dude, that was such a turning point for me that year. It went from me tolerating this class to hating this class. And it was honors English, and that was one of the few classes that I actually liked, looked forward to going to English class. And then it was just and then after that, I was just like, oh, I hate this. I'm in the front and I don't like the teacher. Yeah. And all my friends are back there and I'm up here.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So you had the same experience?
Oh, quite a few times. Teachers don't have very many weapons. That's one of them.
Right. Yeah, that and detentions or punch cards if you had those.
Did not have punch cards.
When I went to Catholic school, we had this thing where they gave us a punch card, and every time we did something wrong, they would punch a hole in it. And on Fridays, at the last half hour of Friday, we had 30 minutes of free time. But every punch you had in your punch card, you'd lose 3 minutes of free time. So 3 punches in that punch card meant you lost 9 minutes of free time. So you'd have to sit at your desk with your hands folded for those 9 minutes while everybody else got to do whatever the F they wanted on Friday at 2:30. And you're like, I want to trade baseball cards, but I can't because I got 3 punches, so I got to wait my 9 minutes. It's like being in the penalty box for 9 minutes and then you're free.
Yeah, I can't say we had those.
Shall we talk about Upper Deck MVP hockey cards?
We shall.
Yes. So, Upper Deck MVP. It's always one of the earliest releases of the year. This set came out July 30th of 2025. However, it came out on e-Pack recently. It came out on e-Pack on January 9th of 2026. So what Upper Deck usually does is they release a set into hobby shops, into real retail outlets, if it's also got a retail version, and then they eventually put it on e-Pack, which basically tanks the price of the insert cards. Yeah, it does, because you go, oh, that's a cool insert. I'll pay $2 for it. Then you look on e-Pack 6 months later, and it's 33 cents. So the set break,
circle of life.
Circle of life, yeah, it is. It absolutely is the way the hockey card market works. So, like previous years, MVP has 250 cards. It's got 200 base cards, which are 198 players and 2 checklists. Got 50 short prints. You got 20 star players, 29 rookies, and 1 checklist. And then you got various inserts and parallels. We'll talk more about those in a minute. But looking at the cards themselves, they just seem like typical MVP. You kind of look at them and you kind of go, oh, yeah, those look different than last year. But then you also go, yeah, but they kind of also look like last year. Like, I don't know. For me, MVP really blends together. Like, and that's fine. I mean, I don't know. It's okay. It's not a bad design. It's not anything to write home about. I think what gives MVP its appeal is that it's the first set to come out. So everybody's like, new cards, okay. And I've fallen for that before. I'll be like, oh, MVP's out. Okay. Yeah, all right. I'll buy some. And then it's at retail. And it's relatively inexpensive. And it's relatively easy to put together a base set. And I believe the short prints are 1 in every 2 packs. So even the short prints, not too hard to come by. But then once it hits e-Pack, the short prints are very easy to come by.
Yeah, you get 10 short prints in a box. So what is it, 20 packs in a box?
Oh, is it 20 packs in a box? My bad. I thought it was 20, really? Yeah. Not 12?
Yeah, I think it's 20 in a hobby box. Yeah, I think it's 20 in a hobby box.
Oh, yeah, 20 packs per box. You're right. It says right here on the box.
Yeah, so it is 1 every other pack on the short prints. And I want to say there's 1 extra insert set this year, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong on that. For some reason, I feel like there was 1 extra insert set.
Insert set?
Yeah, because I think last year there were 5. And it seems like there's 6 this year because they added that extra mascot set.
Yes, we'll talk about those inserts. What do you think of the design?
I agree with what you're saying. It's just 1 year runs into the next as far as the design goes. It's not horrible. It's not great.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the design takes up the card rather than the player itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the player's trying to escape from the design. But I'm a little disappointed that there's no stats on the back.
Right.
I mean, for a while we were going down to like 1 year and then a subtotal. Now there's none. So, yeah, we just have a little blurb and how tall and wide people are. So.
Well, I guess it's because their production time on these is so far back that they can't even wait for stats of the player. So if this is a 25-26 set, they're still producing them in 24-25. And so they're not like waiting to get those stats to come in. They're just, which is crazy because if you think about it, you look at a set like Topps, right? I know we're looking at 100 years ago, but let's just look at Topps. Okay. Topps came out in October. NHL season ended like May, right? It was like May of that year usually. They didn't really go into June. It was like playoffs for like April and May. And then Topps would come out with the set in October. And a lot of players would get traded in June, and Topps would still take the time to airbrush them in the new uniforms. and have the stats from that season. So, but then again, maybe Topps was just focusing on one hockey set, not like 20. And then also it's like pick your battles. Do you really want to wait for the stats, or do you want to get a head start on the set and not worry about like holding back production until we have statistics? So I guess that's just what it is now.
Yeah, this is one of those 6 of one on one side, half dozen on the other kind of thing. It's like for a hockey collector or a set builder, this is a good set to do that with. But generally, those of us that do that are more old school oriented, so we like to see the stats on the back. But now if we're going to do the cheaper set to put together and try to do a master set, we don't get stats on the back. So it's like, all right, what do you want? Do you want this fast or do you want it thorough? Why can't we have both? Well, you can't. So here we are. I'm just glad Ice Battles is gone.
Yeah, those are stupid inserts.
I was sick of that one.
But looking at this card really quick, like I guess the thing is like the cards need to inform you and maybe entertain you, right? Like, so I look at the back of the card and I go, okay, I don't really need that exact same picture of the player. Like, there's nothing different about it. They're almost the same size. It's not the player in the action. What's that? Slightly smaller,
but same photo.
Pretty much, but I mean, pretty close though. Like, so why not get rid of the photo? Why not make that information bigger? And why not give more information about the players? Okay.
Because then it would be O-Pee-Chee.
But O-Pee-Chee still has all the stats. And O-Pee-Chee has photos on the back as well.
Oh, they do now.
Yeah. So what I would say is give their height, give their weight, give their birth date.
Is that required?
What?
I feel like that's required. Like they have to have that. Like that's got to be some licensing thing with the NHL or whatever that they have to have.
The vitals?
The vital stats.
Well, they got to have.
It's on every card.
I mean, they got to put something on the back, right?
It's on like every card, and it's been on cards forever. I always wonder why that is. Like we can go away from stats, which people care about, but instead we have to have this. Like I don't care that he's 180 pounds. Doesn't bother me.
Well, okay, so I look at the BS blurb, as I like to call it. So this card that we're looking at is Brad Marchand's card. And it says here, seeing his first action as a Panther, Marchand set up the overtime winner for a 2-1 triumph over the visiting Utah on March 28th, 2025. Okay? That's nice. And then there's like all this empty space underneath it. Get rid of the picture, move the vitals up, give me 10 interesting facts about this player. Was a member of the Bruins when they won the Stanley Cup in 2011, was the team captain of the Bruins for their 100th season, nicknamed the Rat. I don't think he's the Rat. What does he have a nickname? I don't know. Likes to lick the opposing players. I don't know, right? Just put some stuff on the back of the cards, like make it interesting, right? This isn't interesting. That's the thing. The front is serviceable. The back is forgettable.
But they have mascots.
But
they have mascots to make up for it.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the rookie cards, so you got short print. So there are some star cards that are short printed, and then there's also rookie cards that are short printed. And the rookie class is a little thin because these are going to be the holdover rookies from the 24-25 season. Of course, Ivan Demidov is the probably most notable rookie in MVP for 25-26. And again, no stats, although it does says making his NHL debut in front of home fans on April 14th, 2025. Demidov had a goal and an assist in the first period as Montreal skated against Chicago.
Yeah, I would agree. From a dollar standpoint, he definitely is. He's the one that everybody's chasing. There's a few other good ones in there. Lev Shunov's in there. I think Gabe Perreault's in there, and Ryan Leonard's in there, and
Oh yeah, Ryan Leonard's in there.
I think some of the baby brothers are in there too, like Colton Dock and Owen Sillinger.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's Demidov's the big one.
Now some of the
get it away.
Beg pardon?
I said, "Oh God, get it away."
All right, so some of the inserts in the set, we have these hello, my name is, and they're like these like those hello, my name is stickers, that you'd like write your name on it. But instead of having a big blank area to write your name, it's got the player's name, their face. It's printed on like shiny foil. So that's one of the inserts in MVP. And another one is net presence. And Tim, you have some thoughts. We got other inserts, but not a fan of these. The net presence? Not a big fan of.
Those are like a throwaway. I was fishing around over here. I used to have one of those freaking stickers sitting over here. There was an old Saturday Night Live commercial back in the funny days.
Mm-hmm.
Bad idea jeans.
Yeah, I remember those.
This is bad idea cards. Like, I don't even understand why. Like, why?
I thought Bad Idea Cards was a Puck Junk Bad Hockey Card Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, this is going right into it. Like,
okay.
This is going to be, we're going to get a waiver that doesn't have to wait the 3-year waiting period or whatever.
Oh, I waived that a while ago. I had to have constellations in there, so I had to waive that.
This should go right off the bat because this is silly and stupid. And I know MVP is basic and it's for kids, but no kid is even going to like this. It's silly. Like, it harkens back to the credentials ones, but at least they tried somewhat on the credentials where they, had the cards this way and then the rookie cards went this way. Kind of the difference between, like, when you're underage, your license is up and down versus side to side, playing off of that. And it had a little more information on it. It looked more like an ID badge. So they were actually trying it. This is the hello, my name is sticker that is like the generic sticker that somebody sticks on you at a family reunion because you haven't seen each other in 20 years. It's just silly. Now, all of the inserts are like glossy, shiny, foily for some reason this year. So even these are, which you can see on the scans if you're looking at the video of this. But still, the front and backs almost look identical to each other. The difference is the back doesn't have the foil, but it just has the player's name just written like it's written in a Sharpie. And it's dumb. It's a waste. It was a waste of an insert set. They could have done something else or just not done this.
This is what I would have done differently. Because I feel like with a lot of Upper Decks insert sets, they have potential, but of course, it's easy to say, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. Well, this is what I would have done.
It was easy. I just said it.
Don't do it. Yeah. But what I would have done with these is that MVP logo takes up way too much space. That should have been up at the top on the other side of the Upper Deck logo. Or maybe at the bottom. You put that at the bottom and the Upper Deck logo at the bottom. And then at the top, you have hello, my name is. And in that center spot, you still have the player's picture. But then instead of it just being written like that, get an autograph. Not like a facsimile autograph. Like, you know how Silver Scripts has like that signature that's like stamped onto the card? Like,
yeah, just not on the rookie cards.
Yeah, I know, and I get it. And these are supposed to be like first-year players or rookies or whatever. But
right.
I think that would look cool, though, because then it would look like the player wrote his name or signed his name. And then on the back, you could have like the player's name and a little bit about him. So I don't know. I mean,
What's it say on the back of Mr. Duke's card here?
Duke scored at Fort. So what does that say?
I can't read it. My eyes are not good.
Yeah, I'm actually. Hang on a second. I have it right here. He said, way to put me on the spot, Timbo. Duke scored 4-10 into the third period of his NHL debut. A 6-3 Lightning road victory over the Red Wings on February 8th, 2025.
Okay, so it's the same stuff that's written on the backs of the regular cards. It's not anything different. It's not anything like groundbreaking. It's not some fun fact about the player. It's nothing of that sort. So I agree. Here's what they should have done. They should have taken that MVP logo. They should have put it on the top next to the hello, my name is, like you said. And then they should have crinkled it up in a ball and threw it in the garbage. That's what they should have done.
Ouch. Okay, well,
I don't even want to talk about these anymore because they make me mad.
all right, some of the other...
We opened them up. No, I'm going to say this. We were opening the packs. And one of these came out. And I won't say the word that I said because it's a family show. But it was an expletive. And I just shook my head. And my wife was laughing at it because she couldn't believe that they were serious about making that as an insert. So, anyway. All right. No more talking about that. Moving on.
Some of the other inserts we have Coming to Your Rink, which shows 2 players on the same team. We have a mascot battle, which shows 2 mascots from opposing teams. We have mascot stickers, and then we have Rising to the Occasion. And then a couple of the other inserts that you could get in MVP, Colors and Contours, Laser Focused, and in Rookie Redemptions and 2025 NHL Draft #1 pick. And both of those have pretty long odds. The Rookie Redemptions, 1 in 400 packs or 1 in 2,000 retail packs. And the draft pick card, #1 pick card, 1 in 1,250 packs or 1 in 2,500 retail packs. So, yeah. I like the mascot stickers, actually. I think that's a great idea because what do kids like? They like mascots and they like stickers. So, and they like shiny stuff. So it just kind of made sense to combine mascot stickers and shininess all in one insert. I approve.
Yeah, so down the line of what you got on the screen, the Coming to Your Rink ones, they're kind of designed almost like a movie poster. It's like that kind of print across the top, and it has the player's little name at the top, and then Coming to Your Rink. So it's sort of like a movie poster kind of thing. Those are, that's a typical MVP insert. So I kind of expected that. They're all right. The mascot battles, because we have the mascot stickers, I'm not sure why we have the mascot battles. Other than to basically say, hey, do you remember a few years ago when we made those mascot Pokemon cards? Now get those back out, and every time you pull one of these cards, find those 2 cards, and you're going to battle them together. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. But yes, mascots. Everybody likes mascots, so these are going to be a big draw. Currently they are. If you look on secondary market, these still kind of pull a lot, at least until EPAC floods the system. But the mascot stickers, I was actually kind of surprised that they were stickers, but I get it. It's cool. And the Rising to the Occasion ones, again, I take those like the Coming to Your Rink. They're like typical MVP insert.
Mm-hmm.
They don't blow the doors off, but they're not horrible. I like the Laser Focused. Those are all the goalie ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I opened 2 boxes. I got none of those. I didn't get a single one. There was a Color and Contours in both boxes that we opened. But No laser focus in either of them, which I thought was weird. I thought I would get at least one. They look cool. They remind me of the kind of like the in the game mask cards, because it's like some crazy foil-y around the background, and then the center, it's like a center locket photo of the goalie.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I didn't pull any.
Some of the parallels, well, actually the parallels are just scripts. We got silver scripts, we got super scripts, we got gold scripts, we got super scripts black, blue scripts, and green script. So silver scripts are pretty common, and they have a signature embossed in gold on it. And the silver scripts are silver scripts, obviously silver signatures embossed on them, and the super scripts are the gold ones. And then we also have we have gold. Jesus, I am just messing this up. So
easy for you to say.
Well, the superscripts do look like they're gold signatures, don't they?
On that scan, yeah.
But what are they really?
I'm not sure this year. They were black the last few years.
I don't know. Well, anyways, I don't have the card in front of me, but yeah. So you got your superscripts, which are numbered to 25. You have gold scripts, which are blaster exclusives. And then you have superscript blacks, which are one of ones, and then blue scripts and green scripts, which you get through e-pack. So those are relatively new. And then, of course, you have like printing plates, but I never get any.
Yeah, I didn't get a printing plate. We got a printing plate out of something else, but not the MVP. So. Yeah, the green always comes through e-pack. The blue, I don't remember the blue script being on e-pack. Is that new this year?
It's like you combine cards to get them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're basically making like so that you combine to get. I don't know.
You could combine to get the green before. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know there was a blue aspect to that. The darker blue color was always like the factory set color. But those aren't script.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. Just another page in the binder.
Well, it says here blue script. Collect and combine 5 of any individual 25-26 MVP fractional green script parallels to receive an e-pack exclusive blue script parallel.
And how many do you have to combine to get the green?
Collect and combine 10 copies of any individual MVP hockey base set or 5 copies of a base set SP, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so 10 base cards get you a green and 5 greens get you a blue.
Mm-hmm.
So 50 base cards get you a blue. This is essentially how that works.
Yeah, for those of you who are going to drop a K on MVP, have at it.
Well, the idea is to do the trades, but
yeah, you mean to initiate a trade and then they ignore it, and then you've just wasted 5 minutes of your life that you won't get back?
Sure, why not?
I don't know, man.
I just don't like the trades where people they want a card from you and they send nothing back in return, and they want you to go through all their stuff and find something.
Oh, find something that you like of theirs.
Yeah. So you basically, if you didn't know that that's what it is, if you were like new to e-pack and you get trades where they want a card from you and they don't want to give you anything, you think that they're just trying to take a card for nothing. It was like, this isn't have a penny, take a penny. This is, send me something and trade.
I think that they don't know what you want, so they're trying to say go and find something that you want. But when they have like 4,000 cards, I don't want to spend the time doing it.
Right.
Like it's.
But there's people that grind the heck out of e-pack though to get all this, so because it all ends up on ComC at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. But yeah, it's too much work. I'm just not that interested. I was kind of doing that a little bit with Top Skate.
Yeah.
Like, getting the different versions, because then you'd get extra points and stuff, or extra coins or whatever when you had this version and you had all 10 of this, or like a full team set or whatever. So,
well, if you did the daily fantasy play too, you scored higher.
Right.
Most of that.
Right. All right. So, finishing off with MVP here, like our good, the bad, the ugly about these cards. So, I'd say the good is that they're relatively inexpensive. It's easy to assemble a base set. The shiny mascot stickers, I think, are a great addition to this year's MVP set. And the short prints are cheap on ePack if you wait long enough. So, you might say, oh, okay, this rookie card will cost me $1. Just wait for enough people to transfer to ComC. So I see cheap enough on ePack. That's a misnomer. I'd say cheap enough on ComC, because on ePack, you're going to trade for it. But when people transfer ePack to ComC, then that's when they could be between, down to 27 cents a card. So a lot of times I'll actually finish my short prints faster than the base set, because I could go and get the short prints for, 27 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents each.
Same here.
Yeah. So like Tim and I have always said, the strategy for MVP is you buy enough packs to build your base set. Then you go and wait, and then when they're on ComC, you scoop up the rest of the short prints that you need. So this is a set that's fairly attainable. I think I've pretty much completed every MVP set, or close to completed. There's some sets I still need a few cards for, but the last 5 years, not much of a problem, really. Now, the bad, short printing the star players. There are some guys that are short printed, and they shouldn't even really be short prints, right? So sometimes they'll take Connor McDavid and make him the short print, or Sidney Crosby and make him the short print. They didn't necessarily do that this year. What they did was they short printed the star players, but not the top star players. So let me just give you a for instance really quick. Some of the short prints are Yanni Gord, Drake Batherson, Dawson Mercer, Mackenzie Weegar, Matthew Nees, Nikolai Ehlers, Thatcher Demko, Ivan Barbashev, Seth Jarvis, Jacob Trouba, Pavel Dorofeev, right? So you look at these guys and you go, yeah, those are good NHL players, but they're not all right, I got a Jacob Trouba card, or all right, I got this Seth Jarvis card, right? So it just seems arbitrary to just short print 20 star players for no reason other than just to make it more challenging to put the set together. And then, like I said, there's a relatively shallow rookie class. Are there good rookies in this set? Yes, but you're not going to have any of the debuts from this season. It's all guys who debuted last season. And then the ugly, lack of stats, the hello stickers, too much dead space on the backs, and do we really need all these different script parallels? Apparently we do, because they keep making them.
I'm waiting for them to come back out with MVP Stanley Cup edition.
What was the big deal about that? Because I have an MVP Stanley Cup edition set, but did they do a regular set and then a Stanley Cup edition set, or did they just...
Yeah, all the few years that they did that, there were two different ones. There was the regular and the Stanley Cup edition.
Why didn't they just call it something different? Why did it also have to be MVP?
Because, Sal, it was the Stanley Cup edition. It was different. Okay? It was just different. I don't know. I have no idea. It was somebody's genius idea, and that was it.
Yeah, so. I think I have the 98, 99 Stanley Cup edition set, or maybe the 99, 2000, whatever. It's on my shelf. I got to go look for it.
They did the 20th anniversary just a few years ago of the 99, 2000 one.
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, because I wasn't collecting hockey in the late 90s and early 2000s, I have almost no nostalgia for any of those. Like, I'm not like, all right, it's a 2001 MVP retro throwback. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Well, the 99 2000 Stanley Cup edition, that was the
Mhm.
set that had the Sedins in it.
Then I do have that set. I'm pretty sure I have
Yeah,
that set.
where they're in their SHL
Yep.
uniforms that look like racing gear because of all the ads on them.
Hmm.
And those are like their who'd they play for? Like Moto, I think.
Moto, yeah.
And like those are their rookie in quotation marks cards that you would think would be worth something, but you can find regularly for like a quarter everywhere.
Mhm.
So, but they're just cool. So, anyway,
All right. So, what are your final thoughts on MVP before we wrap this one and call it a comeback?
um, I'm building the set just like all of the MVP sets. I'm also building the inserts.
Really? The
I'm
insert,
shaking my head. Yeah, I do the inserts every year too.
including the hello, my name is.
They have a couple pages in the binder. I don't know if I'm going to stick to those. I may have to just to for my completist ideals, but I really don't want to. Those are hideous. They really are. And they look even worse in a binder page because they're sideways.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I might put them
Why?
in like an 8 pocket so they're
Hmm.
normal, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
I've done that with some cards. I'm glad when I do.
I feel like 8 pocket pages cost more than 9 pocket pages in the grand scheme of things, and I don't want to waste more money on supplies putting them in an MVP binder, especially for those.
Right.
So I have to really like contemplate on that
Hmm.
and decide if that's something I really want to do or not.
Yeah. I mean, I always have 8 pocket pages lying around because I'll put my Bowman, excuse me, my Parkhurst cards from the 50s and 60s. Unless it's something that's in like tip top shape or it's something I don't think I have any graded Parkhurst cards, but like, if it's like an $800 card, okay, I'm not going to put it in a page. But yeah, if it's like a typical Parkhurst card in just like typical shape, I'll throw it in an 8 pocket page. Or I did that with my 74-75 O-Pee-Chee World Hockey Association set because those cards are sideways. So
Yeah.
I know what you mean about that.
Yeah, most of my 8 pockets went into my Steeler binders for like the old 50s and 60s sideways sets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I mean, I'll collect the base set. I'll I'll put together basically for me with MVP, it's base set and short prints, and that's it. I don't really care about the inserts because there's usually too many inserts in an insert set. If it was like 10 or 20 inserts, fine. But it's always like these 50 card insert sets, which I can't really get excited about. So, I mean, obviously we say collect what you like, but like, I like MVP cards enough that I'll buy them every year. But I mean, I might just do a set of lies and buy a base set and then just wait for the short prints to show up on ComC.
I mean, that is the economical way to do it for sure. But yeah, like the rising to the occasion one, there's 35 of them. Coming to your rink, there's 32.
Well, that makes sense. One per team.
Yeah.
Even one per team on any of those inserts would be okay because then it's finite. It's one per team and it kind of makes sense, right? But when it's just like 60 or whatever, it's just crazy.
Well, if you do get any, I only need one base card. I'm down to one. I only need Cole Perfetti.
Oh.
So I still need short prints, but He's the only base one I need.
Oh, keep that in mind. How can people get in touch with you since you're not on social media anymore?
Well, I mean, I don't know that anybody really wants to get in touch with me or not.
Well, if they had that Cole
But-
Perfetti card they wanted to send you, how could they find out how to send it to you?
Well, they could email me. Do our Puck Junk emails still work? I think they do.
Yeah.
They could email me. I don't even know what my email address is.
Is it at tim@puckjunk.com?
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's it. That's me. Or my full name, it'd be timparish77@gmail. You can do that one too. Either one of those, you can reach me. I have a Reddit account. I just look at stuff. I don't talk to people though. I don't go on Instagram. I don't go on Facebook. I quit going on X. Yeah, that's it. I'm much happier now.
Well, that's what matters.
It is.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap this one up. So thank you for listening to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. As always, if you've enjoyed this show, please be sure to like and subscribe. Please consider subscribing to the Puck Junk newsletter at puckjunk.com/newsletter. And if you'd like to support this podcast, you could do so by purchasing a t-shirt at shop.puckjunk.com. And until next time, collect what you like.